So I just went and picked up 7 of these tires. Now the thing is, these tires are used, but they still have really good traction in the middle. Tires are probably one of the most important things in off-roading that you're gonna find. Now, these are not brand new tires. It's pretty obvious these tires have some wear on them. However, they still have a lot of life in them. And tires like this are so expensive that you better use every last bit of it that you can. For example, one of these tires right now is around $1,100 or $1,200 new. So a set of brand new BFG Red label tires are about $4,600. So why do these tires cost so much? Well, for example, this isn't your normal DOT tire. It's not a street legal tire that you're driving down the street. This is a special compound tire that is made to be what is commonly referred to as sticky. You get way more traction than a street legal tire that you drive down the highway. This is your basic all-terrain type tire right here. This is a DOT street type compound. This tire is not going to get near the traction that that off-road sticky tire is going to get. But when people first get into off-roading, one of the first things that they learn is if you air down a tire, you're going to get way more traction. The reason why is you're increasing the surface area of the tire that's contacting the ground by making it larger. Now by doing that, a couple things can happen. You can knock the bead off the rim because pressure in that tire, and you can squeeze the tire in and it can fall off the rim. And another thing that can happen is you can puncture the sidewalls easier. So one of the next things that people learn about in off-roading are beadlock rims. For example, this rim right here has a lip on it where the bead of the tire sits inside there. And then you take this ring and bolt it on there, and it clamps that bead of the tire on there so that when you're running low tire pressure, the tire doesn't come off of the rim. Now this rim is a single bead lock. So the inner bead, doesn't have a mechanical bead lock. So even running low tire pressure, you can still knock off the inside of that bead. A very common thing that I get on my videos, whether it's on Instagram or YouTube or anywhere, is, hey, need to air down your tires. You're not aired down enough. So that's a comment that I get quite a bit. But I want to explain there's more to it than that. Back in the day when I was running DOT compound 42-inch tires, I used to run crazy low tire pressure just to try and get as much traction as I could. And by doing that, I used to have to run double beadlock rims. And what that did was it locked both the inside bead and the outside bead so it couldn't come off. The truth is, once you go to sticky tires, you don't have to run that kind of crazy low tire pressure because sticky tires have that much more traction. With tires like these BFG Reds, these already have kind of weak sidewalls. That's probably one of the most known deficiencies of these tires is the sidewalls being weak. So you don't want to run crazy low tire pressures because you puncture the sidewall that much easier. With these BFG Reds, I've run anywhere from 6 PSI up to 10 PSI and been just fine. 6 PSI would be on the lower end and probably get away just fine with around like 7 or 8. That seems to be the good spot. These tires right here are BFG KR2s. These tires have a stronger sidewall, but they don't flex as much. So these ones, even though I'm only running like 6 PSI in them, they look like I'm running a lot more because the sidewall's that much stiffer. So a lot of times people see my videos and they're like, you need to air down. And I'm like, I'm only running 6 PSI, but they don't realize that. But with sticky tires, you don't have to run such crazy low PSI to get good traction. In fact, when you go too low, you risk knocking the bead off the rim, the inner bead that doesn't have a bead lock on it, and you risk puncturing your sidewall easier. A brand new one of these tires has about 5/8 inch of traction from what I measured in the middle. It goes all the way across about the same. These type tires seem to wear out the quickest on the edges because that's where you're steering the most. So these tires right here, they have about a 1/2 inch of tread right down the middle. So they have worn down in the middle, not that much, about 1/8 of an inch. However, the sides are worn a bit more. Overall, I'd say these tires are at about 50 or 60% life left. Now, that's fine because I saved a lot of money by buying these used tires. And I went out and I bought 7 of these tires. That sounds kind of crazy, but I came across it because I have two cars now that I got to keep tires on. So I've got this car that has my old BFG KR2s, which I'm going to take off and put on my other car. And then I'm going to put these 42-inch BFG Reds on this new rock crawler that I just built. So the reason I went and bought these tires is because I had one brand new, well, it's not brand new, but it's pretty close to brand new, BFG Red sitting here. And then this guy was selling 7 of these tires that were worn approximately the same. Some of them have a little bit more wear. But that, with these combined, that gives me 2 full sets. I also have a near new BFG that's sitting out back that just needs some sidewall repairs. So overall, if I fix that other one, that's going to give me a total of 9 tires that I have to work with. 2 full sets and an extra spare. So for me, this was a good deal to go pick this up. Looking at these tires, here's an almost new one and this one's got some wear. Like I said, in the middle right here, this is about 5/8 inch and this in the middle is about 1/2 inch. If you look at the sides, you can see how fast that the sides start to wear out on these. But another thing that's surprising is a newer tire like this with these squared off edges doesn't seem to bite as good as a nice broken tire like this that has the rounded edges. In fact, the last time I was out at Trail Hero, I sat there and watched Jeff McKinley sit there and do burnouts with his tire over and over again because he had nice brand new ones to try and get the edges to round off so that they bite a little bit better. So sometimes you see people with brand new tires on an obstacle and you see the tire almost ratcheting as it's trying to grab for traction. But the funny thing is, the more worn that these tires are, the better they work. And it goes that way all the way down to when they're completely bald. These things work amazing. I think a common misconception that people have is that if the lugs on these sort of sticky tires are wore down, that these tires aren't going to work anymore, when that's not actually true. Where we wheel out here in the West, it's very dry. It's dry, dusty type terrain. So you don't need the huge lugs to go through the mud and kick mud up in the air and stuff like wheeling would be down in the South. In fact, the smoother the tire, it seems to work very, very well out here in these sorts of conditions. So while it looks nice to have nice huge tread blocks, you don't necessarily need them for this type of terrain. So my old tires are the BFG KR2s, and now if I measure these and I measure this tread depth, they average from about 1/8 to about 1/4 of an inch. When these tires were brand new, they only came with 1/2 inch of tread. I still got a brand new one out back that has a sidewall puncture in it, so I can measure it to verify. But brand new, these KR2s only came with 1/2 inch of tread. That's as much tread as that are on these used BFG Reds that I just picked up. So that's one way of looking at it, is I've still got a lot of life left in those BFG Red tires that I picked up. And I'm still going to continue to use these tires on my other rock crawler. These things still have life in them. They're still working really good. These are super tough tires with really strong sidewalls. I could probably, even if I wanted to, take a tire iron and chunk some of this out and make the tread blocks even deeper. The truth is, everything in rock crawling is super expensive. Some people can afford to go pick up a new set of $5,000 tires every time that theirs start to look a little bit worn. But me, I'm going to get every little bit of life that I can out of these tires. So what I like to do for setting these tires up is set the rock ring in place. And if the sidewall is super thick, like on those KR2s, I had to use some longer bolts to get it started. The way that I found to be the easiest with this sort of thing. And I've also spent a lot of time back in the day helping my brother-in-law on Ultra 4 stuff, mounting tires. So we've done this quite a bit, and they go through tires like crazy. In fact, I never actually, this is the first set of tires I probably bought in 10 years. I typically get my tires from just going out and helping at Ultra 4 races. However, they haven't been racing the 42s much lately. But was hoping to get a set of those 42-inch Nittos, but just hasn't happened. So I went to buy this used set of tires to get me by for the meantime, till hopefully I can come across another set. So what I do is just start some of these off and try to be really careful to make sure they don't cross thread, because that sucks. These are the Raceline 20-inch rims. These are really nice rims. I'm not affiliated with Raceline, but I think they're a good deal. I just buy what I think is the best deal. I don't get, I don't get any deals from anybody, but helping out my brother-in-law at the Ultra 4 races. So basically, I run what I think is the best deal. So anything that I buy, it just typically is what I found to be the best deal. I just take an impact. Clamp it down a little bit, hold it in place, and then I'll go around and get the rest of these started. And then the goal, what the goal is going to be, is to put them in a crossway pattern. I'm going to be completely honest. There's times like this that you start to think, gosh, what am I doing? This stuff, it gets to be a bit overwhelming at times. Like, it all costs so much, it's so time consuming, and you really, truly have to love it. The truth is, I've seen more people quit rock crawling over the years than I know that are still doing it. It's weird because it's expensive, and it takes a lot of time and energy, and it's easier just to walk away and go buy a razor. We all know that guy. So I'll just say that. But the thing is, in no time, you take a nice, shiny, brand new rim with nice, clean beadlock rings and all this nice tread. And in no time, it feels like it takes no time at all for them to look like this. They're all worn down, sidewalls start getting all messed up. The beadlock ring is all worn down and worn into the rocks, and it's just like, you just take this combination right here, which this is, if this was a brand new tire and brand new rim, that's right there on one corner is like a $1,700 combo, and then watch it just, get torn up right in front of your face in no time. And it sometimes it seems crazy, but the truth is, you have to truly love it. And so anybody that's out there watching this video, let me know in the comments, are you one of these people too who, no matter what, no matter how expensive or these different challenges that come in the way, you do whatever it takes to do what you love? Because there's a lot of days I think, like, why can't I just be into golf? Like, why can't I just be like those other guys who are into golf and go play around a golf and hit the sports bar afterward? But I don't know, for some reason, and that's nothing against golf. I don't know, I'm sure I'll get into it at some point. This sort of stuff, it consumes you. I spent a year building this and doing it myself so that I could save the money to be able to afford to get these sorts of things. I mean, it truly becomes overwhelming at times, and there's times you think, gosh, is it all worth it? But I truly believe it is. I just can't kick it. I've tried before. I tore apart a rock crawler before and said, set it aside for a year, all the different parts, and then within a year I was building another one. I just for some reason, I'm really drawn to this. It's a passion. It's a hobby. I don't know. It's a lifestyle. Whatever you want to call it. It's something that drives you, and it's the reason that I do this stuff myself, is because it's the only way that someone like me can afford to do this, because I can't pay somebody to do it for me. So that's why I try to build my own stuff. That's why I buy used tires. That's why I go to all these different links to continue to try and do this. And I'm going to continue doing it no matter what it takes. It's just, it's what I do. It's a lot of fun. I wouldn't do anything different, but there's definitely times that you think like, man, I must be crazy.